Much. For more on the Eastern Star disaster, I'm joined now by Tim Taylor from New York. He's president of Tiburon Subsea Services. That's an ocean research, exploration, and expedition company. And Tim, you've got an extensive resume when it comes to the water, a love affair that began as a child growing up on the New England waterfront here in the United States. You've probably witnessed a lot of different weather events in your career, so I want to get your thoughts about what you think happened in this case.
Well, first of all, these guys are in an inland waterway. And when you're in an inland waterway, it's not like being on the ocean. You are restricted in your ability to maneuver. So the captain right there has limited options what he can do. He can go forward, he can try to turn around and go back into it, he can try to anchor up in it, but he can't outrun it. He can't run one way or the other. He's kind of restricted to that river and where it goes. So he's also got a responsibility for the passengers, and to muster them to an emergency station means he has to bring them all in an emergency situation on board and on deck. And if he would have made that call and brought them up, they would have been in the water anyway. So it was a really tough call for him to make. And I don't necessarily fault the captain in this situation. I understand that in this scenario, mistakes will be made, but if you went a different way, there would have been different kinds of mistakes. It was just it was the weather, and weather is unforgiving. And
you say mistakes will be made. Also, timing. You don't have a lot of time to react when something like this happens, do you?
No, you don't. And you're trying to anticipate weather, and that is. I mean, even the weathermen can't predict it in days. And when this happens, in a downburst or something like this happens, it's usually fast and it happens on top of you, or it forms on top of you. Sometimes you can see weather coming on your radar and the equipment you have on the boat. Sometimes it just forms on top of you, and there's nothing you can do. And I'm not saying this is the case, but it very well could be. He might not have seen it coming.
Well, and the downburst apparently happened so quickly. What more could have been done? I mean, it's easy to Monday morning quarterback in cases like this, but what could you do if you were on the deck there having to make split-second decisions?
Well, obviously, there's a lot to be done to bring people out. But again, it's an elderly. I put myself in the captain's shoes all the time, and I might have made the same mistakes, because you have a bunch of people that you want to keep safe, and the safest place for them is right where they are. You start moving weight around on the boat, and people around on the boat, they can get hurt. And if it's a squall, if it's something coming fast, you figure you can weather right through it. It's not like a hurricane that's been coming at you for days, and you know you're going to get hit. It's something that basically, come up and sucker punched you, and that is an awful position to be in. But you have to make a judgment call, and he did. And I think the reports had it right. I think that better engineering on the boat, better service, better systems as they learn from this. And unfortunately, this is going to have to be a learning experience.
Well, let me ask you about that. It's a very detailed report. It goes into design, construction, remodeling, also names. What can come out of a report like this? I mean, can there be advances moving forward, do you think?
Oh yes, oh yes. I mean, and that's what these reports are done for, because it does get the attention of the public, and they demand it. And so ships that are coming off the line now may have a lower center of gravity. They may not build these ships as high, so they're not affected by the wind as much, because they effectively become big sails. They may be a little bit more seaworthy. A lot of river boats and a lot of inland coastal boats aren't built like the ships that go out to sea are. So they may incorporate some designs on some ships that are designed for heavier weather.
Tim Taylor joining us from New York. Thanks so much for your insights.